Last night on the newsroom, we got you the story of Namrata Dadhor. Now, Namrata's was the case that my colleague Akshay Singh was investigating when he died in mysterious circumstances Saturday last. Now, India Today pulled out the post-mortem report, which showed that Namrata was strangulated, that hers was not a case of suicide. Today, we tracked down the doctor who conducted this post-mortem report. The doctor confirmed on camera that Namrata was murdered. The police came under pressure after our investigation. The superintendent of police ordered a reprobe. Well, unfortunately, that reprobe lasted for all of 12 hours because this evening, the superintendent of police got back and said, well, the case had been investigated again. There was nothing more to investigate, that this was suicide, not murder. But the superintendent is wrong, and here's why.
3 days after Akshay's sudden demise, India Today picked up the pieces and exposed the massive cover-up in Namrata Dadhor's death, with the postmortem report showing that the college student could in fact have been murdered in cold blood.
3-4 महीने बाद अगर कुछ दूसरे डॉक्टर से ये प्रमाणित कराया कि ये यहाँ आना इसको आत्महत्या किया है ना खुद, तो संभव है क्या भाई? इस बात पर उस समय वो डॉक्टर को इस बात पर अगर देख कर कहता है तो भाई एक अलग बात थी.
This is part 1 of the Vyapam X-Files. This is an India Today national exclusive.
A day after India Today's expose on the Vyapam deception, the Damor files were reopened. In just 12 hours, the Madhya Pradesh cops shut the Damor case, raising questions on the farcical nature of the probe.
नम्रता डागोर का एक प्रकरण है जो वर्ष 2012 में घटित हुआ था. उस प्रकरण में इन्वेस्टिगेशन हुई है और उस प्रकरण की रिव्यू करने के लिए एसडीपी तराना को मैंने कहा है. उसकी जांच पूर्ण हो चुकी है. मामला सारे फैक्ट जितने भी आए थे उन सभी को एग्जामिन करने के पश्चात खत्म कर दिया गया है.
But that's not the only India Today report that has spurred action in the murkiest of all scams. 12 hours after the channel reported on a mega botch-up in the investigation of Dr. Sakale's death, the Jabalpur cops have swung into action and will be questioning key witnesses. On Tuesday, the Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister had buckled under pressure for a CBI probe after week-long reporting by India Today.
मैं जनमत के आगे शीश झुकाता हूं और माननीय हाई कोर्ट को एक अनुरोध पत्र भेज रहा हूं कि व्यापम मामले की जांच वो सीबीआई से कराने की कृपा करें.
A CBI probe request, reopening an open and shut case, and recording the statements in a Vyapam probe that's been lying in cold storage for a year. India Today's hard-hitting journalism has prompted the MP administration to sit up and take notice. Bureau Report for India Today.
We've now got breaking news coming in that Dr. B.B. Purohit, the doctor who conducted this post-mortem, has completely shredded to bits the claims being made by the Madhya Pradesh police. Remember, the Madhya Pradesh police says Namrata committed suicide. Here is Dr. Purohit speaking to my colleague Kamlesh Sutar. He's the man who conducted this post-mortem. Let's listen to what Dr. Purohit had to say.
कि हमारे पास जिस समय डेड बॉडी लेके आई गई थी उस समय नम्रता डामोर आइडेंटिफिकेशन नहीं हुआ था. एक अननोन फीमेल डेड बॉडी जिसकी की उम्र 20 से 22 वर्ष के बीच में लगभग रही होगी, वो हमारे पास में पुलिस रिक्विजिशन द्वारा 9 जनवरी 2012 को डेड बॉडी पोस्टमार्टम के लिए लाई जाती है. जिंदा आदमी जरूर झूठ बोल सकते हैं, लेकिन मुर्दा या डेड बॉडी कभी झूठ नहीं बोलती. वो हमारे द्वारा पूरी तरीके से जो भी चीज़ें देखी गई और एस्फेक्सिया और स्मोदरिंग और थ्रॉटलिंग जो लेक किया गया, वो उसकी फाइंडिंग्स बेस्ड ओपिनियन दी गई थी. और फाइंडिंग्स हम तीनों डॉक्टर्स ने देखने के बाद कॉन्क्लूड की थी और उसको फॉरेंसिक मेडिसिन के जो भी सिद्धांत हैं उनके अनुरूप उसका मोड ऑफ डेथ एस्फेक्सिया अर्थात श्वासावरोध पाया था. और साथ में जो है इस कॉज ऑफ डेथ के रूप में हमें स्मोदरिंग और थ्रॉटलिंग अर्थात कि नाक और मुंह का और गले का फोर्सफुली दबा के
इसके
सांस रोकने से मौत होना।
कौन से
मुंह
जी
के ऊपर जो नाखूनों के निशान मिले हैं, नाखूनों के निशान बहुत ही स्पेसिफिक होते हैं, जो कि सेमी ल्यूनर अर्धचंद्राकार स्थिति के होते हैं। क्रिसेंटिक एब्रेजन उनको मेडिकल टर्मिनोलॉजी में हमारे द्वारा लेख भी किया गया है उसमें, और उसका मेरे द्वारा पोस्टमार्टम रिपोर्ट में चित्र भी बनाया गया कि किस जगह पे वो निशान मौजूद थे। नाक के ऊपर भी थे, साथ में प्रेशर की वजह से नाक की नेजल बोन भी टूटी हुई थी। और ये जो कॉज ऑफ डेथ था, स्मोदरिंग और थ्रॉटलिंग, ये ना तो एक्सीडेंटल हो सकता था और ना ही किसी तरीके से सुसाइडल हो सकता है। इसलिए हम ये बिल्कुल एक ही पूरी तरीके से मैनर ऑफ डेथ होमिसाइडल के ही फेवर में था।
Joining us now is Madhur Verma. He's the Superintendent of Police of Ujjain. He's the officer who's leading the probe. He's supervising the probe in this case. He's joining me on the newsroom. With me also at this time live from Ujjain now is Dr. B.B. Purohit. He's the doctor who conducted the postmortem in the Namrata Dadhor case. I'm going to be questioning the both of them. I want to start with Madhur Verma. Last night after the India Today investigation, there were reports that the files are being re-looked at, that the case will be reviewed. Well, that review lasted only for a few hours, because this afternoon we received word from Ujjain that the case had been investigated all over again and that you've come to the conclusion that this is suicide and not murder. How did the review finish so soon, sir?
Thank you very much, Rahul ji, for calling me. In fact, I had not ordered it yesterday or today. It was a natural course in which I asked my SDOP to review the case, and that is what I told my journalist friends. And after that particular thing, when my SDOP reviewed the whole thing, he told me that he has examined all the facts and figures of the case, and after examining, he found that there is no single thing which is remaining to be examined till date.
With us also is Dr. Purohit, the doctor who conducted this postmortem. Dr. Purohit, अभी हमने उज्जैन के सुपरिंटेंडेंट ऑफ पुलिस को सुना. मधुर वर्मा कहते हैं कि नहीं, ये सुइसाइड था, मर्डर नहीं. उन्होंने कहा कि हमने दोबारा तफ्तीश कर लिया, हमने पूरे केस फाइल्स को रीओपन किया, इन्वेस्टिगेट किया, और ये केस सुइसाइड का है, मर्डर का नहीं. आप कैसे इतने विश्वास के साथ कहते हैं कि ये केस मर्डर का ही है और जो पुलिस बोल रही है वो गलत?
पोस्टमार्टम रिपोर्ट का जो है वो फॉरेंसिक मेडिसिन के मुख्य सिद्धांत पर कॉज ऑफ डेथ बताने के लिए ही पोस्टमार्टम किया जाता है, और वो सिद्धांत ये है कि डेड बॉडी कभी झूठ नहीं बोलती है, डेड बॉडी हमेशा सच बोलती है, और उस सच को जानने के लिए उसकी गहराई में जाकर पोस्टमार्टम करना होता है. और हमारे द्वारा 3 लोगों की, जो कि 30-30 वर्ष से ऊपर के अनुभव वाले 3 चिकित्सक थे, जिसमें एक महिला चिकित्सक भी थी, ये पोस्टमार्टम किया गया, जिसमें मैं स्वयं फॉरेंसिक एक्सपर्ट होने के नाते 25 साल का मेरा पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन फॉरेंसिक मेडिसिन में होने के बाद भी हजारों पोस्टमार्टम मेरे द्वारा किए गए, और उन विजुअल्स के आधार पे और फॉरेंसिक मेडिसिन के अभी तक के अनुभव और ज्ञान के आधार पे हमारे द्वारा जो देखी गई फाइंडिंग्स थी, उनको वैज्ञानिक तरीके से दी हुई फाइंडिंग्स के आधार पे फाइंडिंग बेस्ड ओपिनियन दिया गया, जिसके अंदर इस तरीके के एस्फेक्सियल साइन पूरे तरीके से एक्सटर्नल और इंटरनल पाए गए. कुछ ऐसी स्पेसिफिक चीज़ें भी पाई गई, क्रिसेंटिक एब्रेजन्स नाक के ऊपर और नेजल बोन का टूटना.
तो आप कह रहे हैं कि ये ट्रेन के सामने आने से नहीं हो सकता? डॉक्टर पुरोहित, आप कह रहे हैं कि ट्रेन के सामने आने से ऐसा नहीं हो सकता, क्योंकि हो सकता है कि ट्रेन के सामने आने से भी नाक टूटी हो, क्योंकि यही तो पुलिस कह रही है कि सुइसाइड था. आप क्या स्पेसिफिकली कैसे कहते हैं कि ये सुइसाइड नहीं मर्डर है?
बाकी ट्रेन से इतने फोर्सफुली गिरने पे इंटरनल और एक्सटर्नल और दूसरी कोई चोटें नहीं थी. एक्सटर्नल चोट उसके अंदर जो पाई गई थी वो पोस्टमार्टम एब्रेजन्स थे, जो कि बॉडी के मरने के बाद अगर उसको ट्रांसपोर्टेशन किया जाए या घसीटा जाए तो उस समय में जो आते हैं और उनका भी उल्लेख वहां उसमें पोस्टमार्टम
That's a very important point. Now, I want to put that question to Madhur Verma, the superintendent of police, because the postmortem report done by Dr. Purohit clearly shows that she was suffocated, that the kind of internal and external injuries that she suffered was because somebody was throttling her. She was denied oxygen supply. That's how she died. That's there in the postmortem. The doctor says a dead body does not lie. Why then, Superintendent of Police, are you insisting that this is a case of suicide when the facts are staring you in the face?
You see, after that particular postmortem, the whole scene of crime, the incidents, the whole circumstances, the doctors who did the postmortem, they all met together in the meeting of Director of Medical Legal Institute, Dr. Badkul. They had examined the whole case and afterwards they had submitted a detailed report. That report is also a part of the investigation, and during investigation that time all the investigators had examined all the facts which were available over there, and on the basis of examination of all those facts the offence of murder was not meet out.
डॉक्टर पुरोहित, अभी हमने सुपरिंटेंडेंट ऑफ पुलिस को सुना, वो कहते हैं कि ठीक है शुरुआती पोस्टमार्टम में मर्डर था, लेकिन जब बड़ी डॉक्टरों की टीम ने जांच की तो वो मर्डर नहीं निकला, तब वो सुसाइड निकला। आपको लगता है कि पुलिस इस मामले को कवर अप करने की कोशिश कर रही है? वो कह रहे हैं कि बड़ी टीम डॉक्टर्स की, उन्होंने ये लिखित में दिया कि ये सुसाइड का केस है। कैसे रिस्पॉन्ड करते हैं जो एसपी बोल रहे हैं उस पर?
इसमें मैं मैं इसमें आपको स्पष्ट करना चाहूँगा कि हम लोगों की जो 3 लोगों की डॉक्टर्स की टीम ने डेड बॉडी को देखते हुए पोस्टमार्टम करने के बाद में अपनी फाइंडिंग्स दी है, और जो दूसरी रिपोर्ट उसके बारे में आप ही ने जैसा बताया मुझे कि जो दूसरी रिपोर्ट तैयार की गई है वो केवल प्रपत्रों के डॉक्यूमेंट्स के आधार पर की गई है, स्पॉट एग्जामिनेशन के आधार पर की गई है, डेड बॉडी को बगैर देखे की गई है। और मेरा ये मानना है, और जितने भी दूसरे फॉरेंसिक मेडिसिन के भी ज़्यादातर लोग हैं, सबका ये कहना रहता है कि डेड बॉडी के पोस्टमार्टम की फाइंडिंग्स को ज़्यादा ऑथेंटिक माना जाना चाहिए।
That is a very, very important point which Mr. Verma must respond to. The fact that Dr. Purohit is the only one who saw the dead body. The other team only went to the spot where this incident happened. They looked at the papers and they concluded that this was not murder, this was suicide. Whereas the doctor who saw this with his own eyes, put together that report, is telling you again and again that this is murder. It seems, Mr. SP, that you're trying to protect someone. Mr. Verma, this very clearly seems to be a desperate attempt at cover-up.
Rahul ji, you see what happens, that in the cases which are very important, when there is some doubt regarding postmortem or regarding any kind of report, then the expert, the director of the Medical Legal Institute, the case is always referred to him, and then he examines the whole case along with the postmortem report, what is written in the postmortem report, what are the various facts of the case, and based on that they always submit a report. So it's a routine of investigation, nothing special in this particular case.
Nothing special, you know, yeah, you're sounding like Sadanand Gowda, who yesterday said that the Vyapam case is silly and simple. You're saying there's nothing special. Well, it's deeply sinister and that is what it is. But मुझे ये बताइए डॉक्टर पुरोहित कि आपने इतने साल तक क्यों कुछ नहीं कहा? ये तो करीब 4 साल पुराना मामला है, अब आप आके कह रहे हैं कि नहीं ये मर्डर का केस था। इतनी देर से जब पुलिस इस केस को दबाने की कोशिश कर रही थी, दफनाने की कोशिश कर रही थी, तब आपने क्यों नहीं कुछ बोला?
हाँ, नहीं, मुझसे तो जो हमारा काम तो पोस्टमार्टम देने के बाद में जो है कोर्ट के अंदर अगर केस आता है तभी उस समय में उस रिपोर्ट को हम देखते हैं। हमें पुलिस ने कितना इन्वेस्टिगेशन किया, केस कहाँ तक पहुंचा इसके बारे में कोई जानकारी नहीं रहती। ये तो आज मीडिया के लोगों ने, आप लोगों ने इसके बारे में बताया तब मुझे ये सब चीज़ें पता लग रही है। अदरवाइज मेरे पास तो मैंने जो उस समय में प्रिजर्वेशन किए थे, उसके कपड़े प्रिजर्व किए थे और उसके साथ में वेजाइनल स्मीयर स्लाइड्स बनाई थी, उनकी रिपोर्टों की भी हिस्टोलॉजिकल रिपोर्ट मेरे पास नहीं लाई गई। ना मुझे कोई इस संबंध में कोई किसी तरीके का पुलिस द्वारा कोई इसमें कोई
just a complete sham. The police investigation, you're hearing from the doctor himself. He's live on the newsroom. You can hear what he's saying. It's a deep indictment, Mr. Verma, of the kind of investigation the Madhya Pradesh police has done. Now tell me, if the Supreme Court tomorrow orders that this case is handed over to the CBI and the CBI does a thorough and honest probe, are you concerned that all those officers who were involved in this apparent cover-up could be in a lot of trouble if the CBI is able to establish that all this while the police has been lying?
Rahulji, you see, whenever police investigates any case, during investigation we examine all the facts which come across that particular incident. So in this particular case also, whatever facts come till date, they all were examined, and owing to examination, analysis of all those facts, the case of murder is not made out in this particular case till date.
Well, I don't agree in the least with most of what you're saying, but I don't wish to sit in judgment because this ultimately is a matter that the cops need to investigate and prove in a court of law. We don't want to turn this into a media trial, but we believe it is our responsibility to unravel the truth and to put it out, and that's exactly what we've done, and we are very grateful, Dr. Purohit, that you joined us. बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आपका कि आपने हिम्मत की। मध्य प्रदेश में बहुत लोग हैं जो कि इस केस को दबाने दफनाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। आप प्रेशर में नहीं आए, आपने अपनी बात रखी, आपने लोगों की आंखें खोली, हकीकत को सामने रखा। इसके लिए हम वाकई में शुक्रगुजार हैं, क्योंकि जो हुआ नम्रता के साथ उसकी हकीकत पता चलनी चाहिए और उस पर एक्शन होना चाहिए। We appreciate what you've done, Dr. Purohit. Thank you very much for joining me on the newsroom. The key focus now is on the hard disk that's been recovered by Prashant Pandey. Prashant Pandey is a whistleblower. He used to work as a systems analyst, as a cyber expert. He was engaged by the special task force of the Madhya Pradesh police that was investigating this case. His brief was to try and recover the hard disk of the person who was the controller of the PEB examination. He had an Excel sheet which had all the names of all those netas who had pressed for appointments to be made under the Vyapam scam. Now here's what happened. Prashant says he gave the Excel sheet to the STF, but the STF started fiddling with the Excel files. They started replacing some of the names of the leaders. The name of the chief minister, for example, was removed according to Prashant. Now the cops say that Prashant is lying, that he's a Congress agent. We don't know which of the two is true, but we believe it's important to put into context and to explain to you, our viewers, what are the contents of this explosive Excel sheet. Because if this Excel sheet is proven to be true, then heads will roll at the highest level in the government of Madhya Pradesh. However, if this Excel sheet is found to be false, then the Congress and Digvijay Singh have a lot of explaining to do. Here's why.
A hard disk could contain all the clues to India's murkiest scam. The hard disk that belongs to one of Vyapam scam masterminds, Nitin Mohindra. It is this hard drive that contains Excel sheets that details the candidates who cleared the recruitment examinations through unfair means. The computer hard disk was seized from Vyapam at the time of Nitin Mohindra's arrest, but whistleblowers allege that the disks have been tampered with.
Those people didn't even examine my pen drive itself yet. It is still in sealed cover. Then how can they conclude it forged without even getting through the contents of it?
It is alleged that till date, the STF has not provided the complete Excel sheet retrieved from Nitin Mohindra's hard disk. Only a part of the Excel sheet was presented before the court at the time the charge sheet was filed. The Excel sheet allegedly contains high-profile names like Uma Bharti, Raj Bhavan and a certain minister. The BJP claims that the contents of the Excel sheet and the hard drive are fabricated.
दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण क्या होगा कि एक चीज व्यक्ति जो 10 साल मुख्यमंत्री रहा फोर्ज डॉक्यूमेंट बनाता है।
But the key to unlocking the Vyapam mystery lies in the hard disk. Bureau Report, India Today.
Watch out for the hard disk. Therein lies the key to what happens next in this case. We'll keep tracking the story. I want to go across now to Vinay Sahasrabuddhe. He is the BJP in charge for Madhya Pradesh, the man who is Amit Shah's key points person for the Vyapam scam and for dealing with Shivraj Singh Chauhan. Mr. Sahasrabuddhe, this is the first time you're speaking out on this sensitive case for the BJP. You're joining us on the newsroom, and I want to start by asking you about why was there such a delay in the decision to hand over the investigation to the CBI. Shivraj Singh Chauhan seems to have relented only under immense political, media and public pressure. Wouldn't it have been better for the BJP if this decision had been taken by the Chief Minister himself instead of having to come under so much pressure, sir?
No, one must understand that whatever has been done on his own accord. I mean, there is no kind of any instruction coming from the judiciary or any other quarter. The Chief Minister and the party leadership was cautious and conscious, both conscious of the fact that the judiciary is handling the case. The entire political spectrum is watching whatever is emerging, and therefore tomorrow if we say that hand it over to agency A or agency B, people would certainly be casting aspersions as what is happening even now. Even after we suggesting the High Court, number one, the High Court has not readily agreed.
Okay.
It is still taking its own time, and rightly so. And at the same time, some of the opposition members are also saying that this should be done in a
No, but let's look
way,
at the investigation. India Today has been able to dig out startling facts that indicate that this probe has been botched up badly. We pulled out the original post-mortem of Namrata Dadhor. You heard just now from the doctor. The report says that she was strangulated, she was murdered. But the cops for the past 4 years have been presenting this as a case of suicide. There's a deliberate, sinister cover-up that has been going on in the Madhya Pradesh government, and that now is being exposed nationally.
I think one is rushing to draw some conclusions, because the entire episode now, and even the Chief Minister is on record having said that not only the original case of the Vyapam related whatever the things which were not as per the legal system, but the unnatural and otherwise and other kinds of deaths also which have occurred during the process of investigation of those people who were associated with Vyapam need to be investigated. So let the court also take a call on this. I mean, instead of rushing to draw any conclusions.
No, but this is not the only investigation that we put out. We also did a ground report from Jabalpur, Mr. Sahasrabuddhe, and we looked at the case of Dr. Sakale. Now, in the case of the death of the Dean of the Jabalpur Medical College, it turns out that for 1 year, cops hadn't even bothered to record the witness statements of the key witnesses. It's only after we broadcast this story yesterday that we had a farcical situation with cops rushing to the residence of the key witnesses this morning to record the statements. This is criminal negligence. In 1 year, the cops should have been able to file the charge sheet, complete the probe, go to the courts, seek prosecution. Instead, they are waiting for the media to get started. They haven't even recorded witness statements yet, sir.
I think the kind of investigation systems that we have, I mean, there are several such cases where some kind of lacuna could be found out. But instead of using that lacuna, which is a serious thing, I am not kind of undermining the whole thing, but instead of adding some more sensationalization into that, or adding some kind of a more